CM Punk might not be the devil. You know what? I'm starting to think that.
How did you make the first words of this podcast CM Punk?
Well, is there any other words this week? The devil, and well, was it the devil or was it the devil's minions?
It was the devil's minions.
But he had the devil mask on. He had on the back.
The devil's minions.
Devil.
Yeah. I don't know.
Some faction, which may or may not have included the devil himself, attacked MJF on this episode. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Pete Quinnell, filling in for Luco in DAD. He's off on a special project. More on that next week. This is the AEW Dynamite review edition of the WrestleTalk Podcast. If you haven't already, please press the thumbs up button, give us a subscribe, leave a comment down below with what you thought of this episode of Dynamite, and send in your Omega chats to WrestleTalk.com/support, or read out every single chat before the end of the show. And just as a special request from us, go and check out our brand new channel, Chaotic Neutral. It's an RPG, which stands for, I'm told, Role-Playing Gizmo.
Rocket Propelled Grenade. Yes. It's a TTRPG channel. It's like D&D.
This
exciting.
This isn't going to turn into a Surfshark VPN Swerve. It's not a promo spot for that, although they're a great VPN. Please go and use our link to get it. It's our RPG channel that is sort of spinning off from No Rolls Barred. Laurie announced it a couple of hours ago. Gonna have a huge free live stream tomorrow, playing a tabletop RPG game called Fiasco, which is a lot of fun. Got to make up a movie on the fly.
They've done a little Fiasco thing on No Rolls Barred before, and it was hilarious and awesome and great. So we're going to do it again. Very exciting.
Sully's going to be on it. Has Tegan been on No Holds Barred yet?
Yes, Tegan's been on No Holds Barred. Yes.
So you can, you should know Tegan by now. Then she's really funny. She's on the show tomorrow as well. So go subscribe over there. We've managed to get about 16,000 subscribers without a single video.
Crazy.
Which is fun. So let's make it, I don't know, that's something achievable from this stream. Let's make it 1 million. million by 4 p.m. GMT.
If we can make it the biggest channel out of anyone we've got without a video, that'd be great. Thanks.
I had this idea a week ago, like, oh my God, we could, this could be a whole viral thing. We could have the most subscribers despite having no content. And I did a bit of research to see what sort of numbers would have to be. It's ridiculous. There are some channels with 4-5 million subscribers with no content.
That's absurd.
And it's not even like they had content and deleted it. They've just,
crazy.
Anyway, so probably you're probably here to talk about AEW Dynamite. Yeah. It was a great show.
It was a great show. I had a fun time watching this show.
Stuff moved forward. The in-ring wrestling was great. I felt like there was enough in there in terms of storyline bits. I thought the Christian Copeland stuff was one of the... there's been so many great segments this year, but it was a bloody good segment.
Yeah.
And there's also this biggest angle, I guess, biggest thing of storyline note. MJF cuts a promo. He does a really great job building up Samoa Joe as his world's-end opponent. And then at the end of it, he gets attacked by 4 people who are in the sort of black morph suits.
Retribution.
Yeah. It felt a bit, didn't it?
Did you see Corey Graves tweeted out Retribution?
Did he?
Yeah, Retribution, question mark? And then Dijak quote tweeted that with the gif of Vince being like, That was great.
I can't prove it was Dijak.
Yeah, they don't know.
So what happened? That 4 people attack MJF. MJF, he's on a cane. Remember, he's genuinely injured, and he's selling this as part of his story. Samoa Joe appears because he's trying to keep Max healthy for their World's End title match. Great story, love it. I like this. I like the development, but there was just a little bit of, he did kind of undermine them a bit.
And I didn't quite stick the landing of what they were trying to achieve here. Because like you said before, I loved MJF's promo before this. The hyping up Joe was so good. Like listing off all of his accomplishments. He name-dropped WWE.
Yeah.
He name-dropped CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. That's crazy. But just talking about Joe's accomplishments and what he means to the industry and how he respects him. But also, it's not about that anymore. It's not about your legacy, Joe. It's about mine at World's End. And really effective babyface promo. Really fired up. Was awesome. And then lights go out, strobe lights everywhere.
Yeah, that was the first bit for me where I was like, oh.
Yeah. It's like, not quite. But yeah, okay.
Because then you just start doing the kayfabe workings. So someone's on the production desk right now?
Yeah. So it's that moment that just takes you out of the suspension of disbelief and makes you start questioning the logic of the show a little bit, which is never a good thing. But despite that, the lights come back up and you get the masked people swarming the ring. They've got MJF. Samoa Joe comes out and just kind of pulls one of them and grabs a bat, and then the rest of them scamper, and that's it. That's basically the whole segment, aside from the very last part of it, but that's the attack part of the segment. And that, to me, was a bit undermined because they didn't do anything. If they'd have come out and actually successfully attacked MJF, they'd have hit him with his cane or whatever, something to like actually affect him, I think it would have been a bit more impactful. But the fact that they're like, we're going to do something, but here's Joe, who just kind of hooks the leg of one of them, and like, oh, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
It just didn't accomplish much.
So let's just call them the Devil faction for now.
Sure, yeah.
They have had a lot in recent times.
Absolutely.
You know, they've been beating up people. They've looked strong and they've looked, mostly cool. They've been very protected or limited in what you see. So, yeah, to see them in their first proper... Is this the first proper in-ring thing?
I think so.
Everything else has been backstage, I'm pretty sure. For Joe to so easily dispatch them. And look, I don't care how many friends I've got with me, how many of my Devil Masked boys I have. If Samoa Joe's coming at me with a bat, I'm sprinting in the other direction.
For sure, yeah.
But that's me. The Devil, I feel, has been built up to an extent where they're a threat. Just because imagine, I'm not saying they did a bad thing, but it's like you did a 70%, 80% version when we could be talking here of, oh my God, they attacked Max. He's injured. Joe tried to save Max, and then they beat up Joe too.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It would have made them seem like they're the biggest threat. Like, one of the things that I think really sticks in my mind, the thing that I would compare it to, is the beatdowns that The Shield did when they first debuted in WWE, where they just had this intensity that you just couldn't match. And they just came in and they were, fists flying everywhere, and they were beating everyone down, and they were putting people through tables and all that stuff. If you had that kind of same chaotic energy for this Devil faction, I think it would really cement them as like, these are people to take seriously. But this kind of feels like it's always the setup to... It's almost like when a villain does their monologue, and you're like, this is for the person to come save them. It's like, we're going to hit you at some point, Max, with this bat. Oh no, Samoa Joe's here. It's like, you should have just hit him. Like, there shouldn't have been any waiting. It always feels like it's a setup for the babyface to come make the save,
Well, there's another way to do this. I saw one person speculate they didn't really beat up Max. And they were like, well, maybe the Devil could still be Max. I don't think that is the way they're going.
No.
But you could at least tease that possibility. Still.
Sure.
So, yeah, Joe comes in to save them. They beat up Joe, and they're going to hit Max in the head. Actually just puts the bat down.
Yeah.
Tap on the head. Ooh.
Yeah.
Walks off.
And then walk off. That would have been cool.
But yeah, and then, like, I get that you want to set up the tag match for next week. You do that for me later on in the show from the dressing room. We will
angry.
see you.
Yeah.
So yeah, what happened after that? Joe chased off the Devil faction. I thought we'd then gone to a break because it cut to black.
It just cut. Yeah.
For like 10 seconds.
It was a technical error. They're in our walls, Ollie.
I will say, I thought they did that really well.
They did, yes.
The commentary going like, I'm sorry about these technical issues. It's something internal. It felt like they're in the house.
Yeah.
I like that. And then in courier typewriter font, just typed onto the screen. What are the exact words? Will you face the unknown in a tag match? Are you a hero, Max?
Yeah. And then Max was like, yes. Despite Joe saying, don't you dare book a tag match for us. And MJF was like, yeah, you're on. So next week, Joe and Max in a tag match against presumably two of this Devil faction.
Yeah.
Where Max threatened to unmask the Devil. Do you think he's going to be unmasking people on his way to the Devil?
I mean, that's a good point. That is a classic MJF storyline. You have a series of people, increasingly difficult challenges, and then you get to a final boss.
Yeah. It was the same way with the Firm.
Yeah.
So I think,
that's not. Yeah. It
the
works
firm.
most of the time.
It works most of the time. 70% of the time, it works every time. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Max and Joe win next week. They unmask whoever they're facing, which then leads to the week after, which is Winter is Coming, which is where we might actually get the reveal of the Devil themselves.
Yeah, Winter is Coming, typically a really big angle every year. That's where Sting debuted. That's where Kenny won the belt from... It's actually all the same episode.
That's just the same show, yeah.
My God, Sting debuted, Kenny won the belt from Mox, and then said, I'm going to TNA.
Yeah.
And turned heel and sided with Don Callis.
Yeah.
That's that is probably my favorite episode of wrestling TV of all time.
I can remember on that day when we were coming up with what should the news be that day. And I was like, I'm going to wait until Ollie's finished watching Dynamite. So I was like, we might have something to talk about from Dynamite. And then you were like, oh, Kenny turned. Oh, Sting. And you were talking all in caps. It was great.
So that was 2020. What happened in 2021?
Was that 20 or 21?
Yeah, it's got to be 2020.
That was 20, right? Yeah, it was. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
What's my...
Yeah.
It was 20.
The belt.
Yeah.
So I can't. I'm sure they do
21
something.
or 22. What happened on those shows, gang? Chat. What happened?
They'll tell us in a bit.
Yeah.
But so that feels like a really big deal. Although I had like a little bit of not even criticism, just I feel like you could have gone in a bigger way with the Devil faction. I'm really intrigued to see what they do next week and 100%. The week after. And then beyond that, the stuff with Joe, I think the Joe Max storyline and relationship is on point. And then like MJF storylines are so layered and they involve so many different people. It's like that's a whole month of TV I cannot wait to see.
I'm super intrigued as to where this is going, and even if this hasn't been the best wrestling story ever, it's still a very good story, and I'm super intrigued about it. I genuinely don't know where they're going. My only issue is I don't know who they could reveal to be the Devil, where I won't be like, oh, okay, because if it's like Jack Perry, I'm going to be like, all right. If it's Adam Cole, I'll be like, okay, that's interesting, that's fun. If it's MJF, I'm going to be like, that's stupid. If it's, I don't know, who are some other people that are theorizing?
Should I just read you through the roster?
Yeah.
We could do a 3 count like this.
We could do. Predicting everybody's chances of being the Devil in 3 words or less.
Just do all of WWE as well. AEW roster. So are we going to rule out Punk?
Yes.
Okay.
Obviously. Imagine if it's Punk. What a swerve.
QT Marshall.
Yeah. They've just paid WWE so much money to have Punk on their show to swerve them to get him back.
Okay, I'm only going to say Adam Copeland.
No. So, okay. Luke had a theory in the office today that it's Britt Baker.
He's been banging that drum for ages.
He has. And
Bryan Danielson.
And he's saying it's going to be Britt, Sammy, and Jack Perry as like the pillars thing, and then it's going to force MJF to team with Darby Allin against that as like a pillars infighting thing.
I mean, it's a great story.
Which is interesting.
I don't think this is the story to do that in.
I don't think so either.
Chris Jericho, I think he's the front runner now. I've said it out loud.
Oh God, it's going to be Jericho, isn't it?
You know what? When I was writing up my review afterwards, I thought, God, it's a hell of a good show. Jericho wasn't on it.
Yeah. Yeah. What a weird coincidence.
And I like Jericho, but, you know. Christopher Daniels, of course, he was going to be God at one point, wasn't he?
Could very well be the Devil instead.
Danhausen. Yeah, there's just not anyone really that's popping.
My one that I would like is Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah,
I think that works nicely. I think that'd be neat.
It works nicely. There's a lot of people that like, oh yeah, storyline wise, that works nicely. But maybe it's our fault. The expectations are sort of running away with themselves.
Absolutely. But to me, I think Kyle O'Reilly would fulfill those because he was on a pretty big run before he got injured.
Yeah.
And I'd love Kyle O'Reilly. Plus, it would be a return rather than just like it's this person who's always on the roster.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, he's back from injury and he's the Devil. Oh my God. And he's in a main event picture. That for me is like, what a moment kind of thing rather than a...
What a moment.
Rather than a, okay, I guess.
Well, should we see what everyone's saying on the Omega chats under the very witty headline in our doc here of "Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name." Justin says, them saying the tech stuff was hijacked. Oh, God. Made me think of Sami Callihan.
There it is.
What if they tell the story of him coming into AEW and recruiting people like Wardlow, Sammy, Darby, etc., who have issues with Max? Sami Callihan used to be
Solomon Crow.
A hacker gimmick in NXT.
Yeah.
I'm coming round to Callihan more and more. I'm such a huge fan of him. I just wouldn't want to bring him in at a level that people just go, who's this guy?
Yeah, totally.
This next person, their username has been lost, so please do tell the moderators and we'll give you a shout out. In a world, I'd like to see this as Ospreay and the United Empire under the mask. In reality, it's probably going to be something stupid like Glock Anderson. But in a perfect world, it would have been nice to see Ospreay trade one United Empire for another United Empire. So one faction for another.
So it's a United Empire for an Undisputed Era? Is that what he's saying?
Oh, yeah, that's
like
nice.
a UE for a UE?
What would you like to see Ospreay?
I think it wouldn't be anticlimactic for it to be Ospreay, because you go, main event guy, makes sense.
Straight for the title.
Straight for the title, like that's good. Would it make sense? I don't know. Not really.
It doesn't really fit in Ospreay's character. No. But maybe Ospreay's like, wow, I get to go to AEW where it's not so like sports like New Japan. Yeah. I've always wanted to do an over-the-top devil gimmick.
Sure, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Let's do a few of the others. Kid Cudi. I know Ollie said this was a focused episode of Dynamite, but I feel the exact opposite. The last few episodes of AEW TV have been weird. There have been a lot of heel versus heel versus tweener, which the crowd mostly cheers for the heel, and babyface versus babyface matches. Top Flight just got back and their first opponents are the Hardy Party. Why not Butcher and Blade or some other heel team? Random matches for the women with no story. Penta is lost in the Lucha Rotation Party, and what's most upsetting is this. How did Tony Khan decide to capitalize on Swerve's mega heel potential? He put them in a tournament where, in his first two matches, he's the de facto babyface. What the F? The Devil acting like the hacker from Retribution and then scurrying away for one guy? Man, beat Joe's ass too. Lol.
I agree with the last bit of that. I don't think that was the Devil. Or maybe it was. Maybe it was supposed to be the Devil that came out. I'm not sure, because the camera angle I couldn't really tell what it was supposed to be, whether it was a goon or whether it was the actual Devil themselves. But I do think they shouldn't have run away as quickly. I disagree with a lot of the rest of it, though, because I really enjoy... The thing I love about tournaments is that you get these unusual matchups that you wouldn't see normally. And that's what makes it special and interesting. And you see these like people who are friends who have to fight each other, or you see like, oh, heel versus heel. Who do I want to see win this match? And then you get like, oh, people are really cheering for Swerve because he's awesome. And I disagree that Swerve has the mega heel potential, because people love Swerve. It doesn't matter what Swerve does. He can invade someone's house and cut a promo on a baby. People are going to cheer him because he's Swerve Bloody Strickland. So I think they're capitalizing on it by making him the de facto babyface matches to see if he's going to be a babyface star. That's teasing for the future, I think.
Yeah, I think they're going with... I mean, this tournament's been plotted out. Who's against who and in what order. Maybe that Hangman Swerve match was designed to start getting Swerve babyface reactions. Meltzer's been saying for ages. That spot where Strickland walks through the staples, you don't book that if you're smart in a match without plans to go, he's turning face later
100%.
On. Or at least not face, but tweener.
Yeah, and the thing is, I know that it's not correct to say that babyfaces and heels don't exist anymore, because I don't think that's true. People quite clearly have defined roles in things. But there's a lot more acceptance of cheering heels these days than there was in the past, because we're much more aware of the characters and the acting that people do and the wrestling ability that people have, and it's appreciated by fans more. So you can cheer heels now, and it's okay. People will book around it. It's totally acceptable to have a heel versus heel where one is slightly more babyface than the other. I think that's totally fine.
And like you said, it's a function of tournaments.
Yeah, absolutely.
The middle stuff, that's been going on for years. So that's not new to me. I think it sounds like you're not getting on with the tournament idea. And the devil stuff, which we agree with. Dan versus Ollie, book it, Vince. says, this tournament, I like it, but it's very annoying. This should be their RR? Royal Rumble? G1? The Owen title could be like the X Division Gift of the Gods. The winner is guaranteed a world title match. Also Continental, Intercontinental. Man, yeah, I agree. I don't want to crown a champion after this. I want this tournament to be every year, and it crowns the number one contender for Revolution.
That is the way to do it. And that, I think, is the biggest problem. The biggest problem I have with the C2 right now is the stakes. Everything else about it's great.
Goose Egg, Memberg for 6 months. Swerve going from one of the best heels to a huge face in about a month without changing. He's too badass to be hated. It's really Stone Cold-esque.
He's too badass to be hated. That's exactly it. He's so effing good.
Well, keep getting in your chats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one of them over $5 before the end of the show while we get into the play-by-play review. Opened with Jon Moxley versus Jay Lethal in the C2 tournament. Jay Lethal, massive respect for him.
Yeah,
love him. ROH champion, long time, Truth Martini Act, great stuff. I've seen some fantastic matches with Jay Lethal, but this year's Jay Lethal is Team TNA goofy heel Jay Lethal. He shouldn't be in this tournament. Every time he comes out, granted it's only been 2 weeks, I know he's not getting a point.
Yeah.
And also, it just gets me thinking, why is Kenny not in this? Why is Hangman not in this?
Yeah.
Loads of other names should have been in here over him.
I think that he has been included for someone to beat. Yeah. He is there for other people to beat him. And that is his whole role, which is a shame. And I think it is someone who's very good at wrestling, can put on good matches and still lose. But I feel like you could have done that with somebody else who would have added a lot more intrigue into the tournament. Potentially they get 1, maybe 2 wins. And that's a bit more intrigue for everybody else.
The match was good.
I actually really liked this match. I just think this is like a really solid 4-star TV match.
Oh, do you have different scales?
Ad breaks ruin everything. So a 4-star TV match is like, this is really good, solid stuff. They told a really good psychology-wise story, working over Mox's knee, really helped by Bryan Danielson on commentary because he is a god's gift on commentary. And just like Moxley did a dive and he like bent backwards a bit after it and they were like, oh, I think he tweaked the knee there. And instantly Moxley's selling the knee. I was like, Danielson, you're a genius. I love this man. And then just like Lethal just worked over the knee the whole time and Mox kept selling it in really subtle ways. It was really good and a really good finish of him kicking out and going immediately into a bulldog choke. It was just a really good match. Just some good professional wrestling.
For me, this tournament should be banger after banger after banger. And while this was a good match, Dynamite is full of those. Dynamite's full of great matches.
Yeah.
So for me, this stuff isn't reaching what the standard for this should be. But yeah, I totally agree on the Danielson commentary. It's the best thing in this match. It's one of the best things of the whole night.
God, he's so good. I love that man. And also, I get more out of it because I instantly care more when there's a tournament. It's just the way. It's just the way my brain works. Even if the stakes are a belt that I don't really care about, if it's in a tournament, people are getting points. I'm like, I'm in. I don't need any more stakes.
We got a promo from Eddie Kingston, which was taped after Collision, where of course Brody King beat him, and Eddie Kingston put up 2 of his belts, rather idiotically, to make this new Triple Crown champion. And Eddie's in the corridor afterwards, dejected, saying like, maybe I got too cocky. Why did I do that with the belts? No, don't worry. You can do this, Eddie. I've got to get ahead of the 8 ball and trying to self-talk himself up against this Saturday's match. Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson.
Yay.
Cuts back to the arena. Danielson's still on commentary. He cuts a fantastic interview about how I've got a broken face. I've got a broken face, and I'm not whining or having self-doubt that I'm going to beat you, Eddie Kingston, on Saturday.
Yeah.
Grow a pair.
Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah.
Kingston, in his promo, was just like, got to be humble in victory, humble in defeat, whatever. And Daniel's like, I'm not being humble. I'm coming to win. Like, it's really good.
And that was the first bit where I was like, okay, new champion. Because Danielson said, I'm coming to win and become the first ever Triple Crown champion.
Yeah.
It's like, because when the wrestlers get over that these belts mean something to them, makes me believe in it.
Yeah.
Still think it's a mistake.
Yes.
Tony Schiavone's backstage and he talks about Revolution, which is going to have Sting's last match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm winking for the podcast.
Sting's last match.
He's going to show up in WWE early in 2024. It's going to be in the Greensboro Coliseum, a great little historic detail which they explained to us because that was the site of Sting's first ever world title match against Ric Flair in 1988.
Awesome.
Really good.
Really great idea to have this. They had Sting and Flair there, both talking about the significance. This segment was very unscripted, and you could tell. But it's nice. It's nice. It's nice for Sting and less Flair, but it's nice for Sting. I think for this, and that's fine.
Sting was like, "Oh yeah, it's just great." He was talking off the cuff,
absolutely,
in quite a rambly way.
Yeah,
and Rick obviously didn't know what tone to take, so he just cut a wrestling promo on I think Greensboro.
Yeah, I don't know.
Greensboro doesn't even say it properly, does he? The consortium.
Rick's
not here.
I don't have much patience for Ric Flair anymore. But
also, I never knew that was the first time wrestling was done commercial free.
Yeah, for 45 minutes, commercial free. It was crazy.
Yeah, I learned something.
Yeah.
But I felt like this felt important now. This feels like a big deal.
Yeah.
And they're doing this sort of work 3.5 months out from the actual match. It's an early March. March 3rd? March 3rd. So yeah, it's going to be a big night, Sting's retirement.
I mean, they hyped it up a lot of Full Gear. And they were saying, like, come on, guys, this is the last time Sting's going to be performing in California. Have the celebration bit in the ring afterwards. Like, this is going to be a really big deal at Revolution next year.
We got our second Continental Classic match, which was Mark Briscoe versus Roosh. I started writing in my notes because the tournament matches last week I enjoyed, but they weren't G1 level, which is what I thought we were going to get. For me, it's just they're normal Dynamite quality matches with stakes. And I started to write this after the Moxley Lethal match, which I obviously wasn't impressed by to the right extent for me. And then as soon as the bell rang for this match, I was like, okay, no, we're here now.
Yeah, no, this is great. This match was baller. I love this. They just came out and beat the piss out of each other. It was so good. Because they came out with such fire and intensity. Because Roosh was pissed off and just came out and just started chopping. I'm going to murder you.
Some insane chops.
The crowd went nuts. They were, oh my god, that jab was so loud. That chop was so loud. It was awesome. It was so good. So much fire and intensity for the whole duration of the match as well. It's not like they started hot and then dropped off. They just kept going for the whole thing. Roosh threw him to the floor like an overhead throw to the floor off the apron. It was rad. And Roosh won with the bull's horns at the end. It was such a fun match.
There was a spot in it as well, just before the ad break, where Briscoe, they've just done I can't remember what the move was, but they're both down. And Mark Briscoe's gum falls out onto the canvas. Canvas isn't the most sanitary place in the world. It's a lot of sweat, a lot of skin, a lot of blood, a lot of phlegm, a lot of bodily fluids. And loads of people get infections from wrestling mats. And Mark Briscoe, with his mouth, eats the gum back into his mouth. And this happens as Excalibur is throwing to the break. And I don't know if this was on the broadcast, but because we watch the UK fight feed, we get everything that's in the ad breaks. And Excalibur, Danielson, and Taz are cracking up about how gross that was.
Love it.
Yeah, this was good.
Really great match.
But when I was listening to Alvarez's review, he said that Roosh has only one style of match. And that's great. That's what he does. It's his style.
Yeah.
And if you can't keep up with Roosh, you get eaten alive.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I was like, yeah, like the Jungle Boy match. Jungle Boy got the crap beaten out of him.
Yeah.
Because Roosh is just like 11 on the intensity scale from the start.
Yeah.
And he just stays there.
Yeah.
And it's like Roosh came in with that. I'm like, yeah, I'm Roosh, come on. And Mark Briscoe's like, yeah, sure. Okay.
All right, fine.
And he went right back at him.
Yeah.
Really, really good match.
Yeah.
3 points to Roosh.
Yeah. Good. I think it's adding to the Mark Briscoe story as well. I hope he gets I hope he gets a win in the tournament, because I think that'll be a really nice feel-good moment, especially if it's over like a really big name or something, where everyone's like, well, he's definitely not winning this one, and just like gets a shock roll up, and everyone's like, oh my god, he did it, like kind of thing. I think that would be really, really fun.
Yeah, because one of the beauties of tournament booking is it doesn't have to end with the tournament.
No.
Whoever he beats, that could spin off into a proper story.
Absolutely.
For Briscoe. Who would you have it be with? White's beaten him, Roosh has beaten him. So you've got Swerve, you've got Moxley, and you've got Lethal.
I would say he could either Mox or Swerve.
I think Mox.
Yeah, I think Mox. Because Mox won't lose anything out of that.
Yeah.
Because Mox will come right back and he can do one match. You go, oh, cool, he's Mox. It doesn't matter. Genuinely, Mox maybe being a bit beat down from his previous match, whatever it is, and then Briscoe comes in and out of nowhere gets a roll-up after a great match, like 15 minutes. Maybe the time's running really close, like 18, 19 minutes. Gets a roll-up and Mox is like, no, it's like one little mistake and that's it. But Briscoe gets that big feel-good win. I would love that.
Especially if Mox, even if he doesn't win the whole thing, he can, or if he does, be like, well, the only person to have pinned me in this whole tournament is Mark Briscoe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's your feud.
Yeah.
After that, we got RJ City interviewing Toni Storm. She's hungover from her title celebrations the previous week, and RJ said that she'll be defending her title next week.
Mm-hmm. He took off Tony's shoes, and the crowd cheered. You weird, weird people.
Yeah. She had swollen feet because of all her partying.
Yeah.
So please take off my shoes, RJ.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not getting anything out of these Toni Storm segments.
I like them. They're funny.
Apart from RJ City. I love this man. I think he can become the modern day Jeremy Borash.
Sure.
As like Renee's her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I think of great backstage interviewers with character, Mean Gene, obviously, then no one for ages. Yeah. Maybe a bit of Kevin Kelly in there, but he's a better commentator. But then you got Borash, then you got Renee, and I think RJ could be in that Mount Rushmore.
That's fair. Yeah.
We got the MJF promo. We've already covered it, but would you like to talk more about the Joe promo?
No. we covered it. It was real good. I really enjoyed all of this. It was really good. I'm excited for next week's tag match, see where it's going to go. But then we had a continuation, which I think is very interesting.
Oh, yes.
Because then we had a Wardlow match. And Wardlow came out. You're like, his hair looks a little bit messy. It's almost as if like he's just taken off a ski mask or something. Yeah. Like he's been a little bit frazzled, So maybe Wardlow's one of the guys that was just chased off by Samoa Joe. Interesting.
No one's really talking about Wardlow because I don't think anyone wants it to be Wardlow.
I mean, again, it's one of those where it's like it would make sense, but also.
But Wardlow's character, and what I've really enjoyed about his most recent run, is that he's not someone who's going to hide behind something. He's just full in your face, I'm a killer.
Yeah.
So then to go around this hugely contrived plot to get to Max, I don't think that works.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're totally right, because Wardlow usually does have quite neat hair. He killed AR Fox. It was great. AR Fox got in a little bit of offense, but Wardlow hit a Swanton bomb, a couple of power bombs, and the last ride.
Great.
Famously, one of the moves wrestlers hate taking the most.
But he did it. Thanks, AR Fox. Yeah. It was great. Ended with referee stoppage. AR Fox did a 450 for a 1 count. Love that.
Yeah, really good. I thought Wardlow's facials, just everything about his performance, I think this is prime Wardlow.
It's best Wardlow. Yeah.
The Dante Martin got a very nice return from an awful injury back. Was it this year?
Close. Yeah.
I'm surprised he's back so soon.
Yeah.
Top Flight and Action Andretti versus the Hardys and Brother Zay. This was just a really nicely booked match. Dante Martin doesn't get the tag in for a while. Hot Tag gets to run wild, ultimately wins. Thought Hardys did a good job here working not heel, but as the antagonists to
Yes.
a super babyface team.
Absolutely. Thought this was a really fun match, and they are so quick, and I swear that Dante somehow can now jump higher than he could before. It's ridiculous. That man is insane.
Do you think they put
Love it.
something in his ankles?
Yeah, it's like little springs.
Yeah.
Or he just shoots up more. Yeah. It's crazy. Really fun match, though. And then, backstage, you got Top Flight and Action Andre. Here comes Penta. Here's Vikingo. Here's Commander. Like, oh, fun. I'm looking forward to that match.
Penta just goes 1, 2, 3, and he looks at himself and he goes 1, and then that's how they walk in 2, 3. It was a cool thing, but he should have said Uno Dos Tres.
Well, yeah, that would have been cool. But still, though, that match is going to be really stupid. I love it.
It'll be really fun.
Yeah.
But just in this, I just wanted to bring it up. We are probably near a year since Jericho got beaten by Action Andretti. And Andretti was in this match with Top Flight. And I just thought, what a waste.
What was the point?
Well, the point was to make Action Andretti a star.
Yeah, but if you're not going to follow up on it...
Did for a week.
Yeah, if you're not going to follow up on it, what's the point? The wins and okay, you know when people say wins and losses don't matter? They're wrong. Wins and losses matter.
Sometimes.
Wins and losses matter if you follow up on it.
Yeah.
If you actually care about it, then they matter. And they should matter. But if you just have Action Andretti beat Chris Jericho and then they go, and you're done.
Yeah.
Nothing is achieved. Because Jericho's still Jericho.
Yeah.
Nothing matters. Silly.
Julia Hart then took on Emi Sakura in a House Rules match.
Yeah.
Which a stipulation that I was really on board with, and they just never did it right for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Julia Hart, the House Rules stipulation means that the opponent can pick their one rule that they add in. And Emi Sakura's was can't win via submission. Because Julia Hart has got a thing.
Yeah.
And it's such a fascinating way to book Julia because she's a goth, but she's not a heel.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
She definitely was.
She was, yeah.
I think the House Rule stipulation is a great babyface thing to do.
Or a badass.
It's like an open challenge. It's like, you give me a disadvantage and I will still win.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing to do. A badass babyface thing to do. And it works when you book them as babyfaces. The whole weird thing, that's why the House of Black House Rules thing didn't quite work, because they were always heels. And they were like, well, the opponents need to pick a stipulation. Like, wait, what? That something didn't quite connect with the rule stipulations, and they never did it properly.
Yeah, it's also like none of the opponents actually took advantage of it.
Yeah,
they'll pick it like, I guess we'll have this then.
Yeah, and that's like part of the problem is you don't want to give House of Black too much of a disadvantage, because then they'd be you'd have more impetus to cheer them as baby faces. So it was like it doesn't work. But this works, and this really worked in this match. Emi Sakura slapped Julia Hart once, and she dropped like a sack of potatoes, and the camera zoomed in, and one of her eyelashes had come off, and it was across her face. So like, she slapped her eyelash off. That's so cool. But it was really good. Really, really enjoyed this match. Julia's so over.
I am so impressed with Julia Hart. She's gotten so good, and I didn't see Wrestle Dream live because I was off. So it's like I went to Japan when Julia Hart's doing this, it's kind of cute, it's a gimmick thing. She'd been off for a bit as well, and whatever. To me, she's still the Varsity Blondes person who's doing a goth act for a bit, and then she'll go back to her previous thing. And I come back, and everyone's like, oh my God, Julia Hart should win the title. I was like, what happened while I was gone? But now I'm totally on board with it.
Yeah.
She's a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Her in the way she performs her character, she's got charisma. I'm blown away by her, to be honest.
She's really, really good. I thought this was a slightly odd finish in this match, in that, she did the submission and everything, which makes sense. House Rules, you can't win by submission, but wore her down. And then went to do a moonsault, but, positioned Sakura a bit too close. So then she went too far, and Sakura had to roll into the moonsault. It was a bit weird and clunky, but it worked. She did it, and it won, and it was fine. But still, really great. I love seeing Julia Hart on my screen. She's awesome.
Mariah May is backstage with RJ City, and she's being very flirtatious because RJ is going to hook up Mariah May with Tony Khan so Mariah can get a booking of a match. So she
Yeah.
can show AEW what she can do.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah,
Great
fun.
character work.
Yeah,
Love
fun
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Christian then comes out with 5 rubbish-looking security guards.
A couple of them were fine.
But usually it's a wrestling show. Okay, what's the local wrestling school? Who are your 5 biggest jacked guys that Copeland can spear?
Yeah.
It's like they went out their way to not put the super buff guys in this security detail.
It's like Michael Oku at All In. I'm sorry, Oku. Don't come at me. I'm still salty about Fantasy Booking Warfare.
But I think it was all by design, because this segment was brilliant. I'll just do a quick rundown, play-by-play. Christian comes out. He has the 5 security officers, and he calls down Copeland. And Copeland is there. He's like, come on, he's angry. He's beaten up Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus with kill switch on Collision. And Christian says, actually, security, you can go away. It wasn't my call for you to be here. It totally
Of course it was. Yeah.
And Christian says to Copeland, look, after everything you did on Collision, I've reflected, and you're right, I'm sorry. And he starts playing on their shared career and their personal friendship. They became the greatest tag team that ever lived, 2 greatest careers in wrestling, they're best friends. Copeland grew up with a single mum.
Oh, big reaction for that.
And Christian is like, well, I'm being, he doesn't say this, but just with the flick of his hand, he's like, I'm being serious here. And that's why we're brothers, because my dad became your father. And he's just doing this, like a really grossly sincere act. And you never believe it for 1 second.
Not for a second.
But damn, he's delivering it well.
It's so good.
And he says they're not 2 random guys thrown together. They were family. And Adam, your mum passed away several years ago. Ooh, reaction from the crowd. And that's when Copeland starts to get teary. He looks away from Christian. She wanted to see us tag together one more time. Let's do that for her. And you just know what's coming.
Yeah.
Christian's getting the belt ready as he's saying this about Edge's dead mum. And he goes to hit Edge. Edge turns around, kicks him in the dick. And
Saw it coming.
Yeah. And then just says, next week, I'm going to win your TNT title. Also, go F yourself.
Yeah. So good. So good. What a home run segment. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Like because he picks up the man and goes, nice try, dumbass. It's just like his no selling of Christian's faux emotions was great. The callback to the go F yourself line from the start of the feud was really good, because that's what Copeland wanted. We should tag. And Christian was like, no. And now Christian's like, we should tag. And Copeland's like, no, you've ruined it. Absolutely not. Great segment. I'm really looking forward to their TNT title match.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to it.
The whole feud since Full Gear, it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But since we got past the Sting show section, we're back to Edge and Christian. And it is so, so good.
It's great.
Yeah, this prolonged sniveling heel act. He's got a long explanation why we should be together, Copeland, and then very succinctly, no, go F yourself, I'm winning your title.
Yeah.
Perfect contrast of the 2 styles of men.
And also, Christian called him Luchasaurus and then corrected himself, was like, kill switch.
That's a great tease.
So good.
Do you think we get a title change next week?
Yes. I think we do.
In Montreal, of all places.
I think so. I think we have Copeland with the TNT title after next week.
I think you could do it there, or you could do some kill switch, Nick Wayne and
shenanigans.
You do the big match at World's End.
At World's End, yeah. Could see that as well.
Or have Copeland win, have the rematch at World's End.
Absolutely. Either works, I think.
I think they've got a lot for this storyline now.
I think there's potential for there to be shenanigans involving Killswitch, where he could save Christian and doesn't. And it's not like a turn. It's not like a, oh, I'm leaving you. But it's a, he didn't do as much as he could have.
Yeah.
And Christian takes it up with him and be like, why didn't you save me kind of thing. Like, it's dissension. Copeland still wins, but it's not an overt turn yet. It just furthers that dissension between them.
And you do leave enough in the tank there for a Christian rematch.
Absolutely.
Because
there was enough momentum for him to potentially win at some point.
I love it when you can go in several different ways, and all of them I'm excited by. And I suspect they've got an even better one.
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
And the main event was Jay White versus Swerve Strickland. Danielson's back out for commentary. Final C2 match of the night. Prince Nana makes his return, doing his dance on his crutch. Like the chat said earlier, Swerve was working face pretty much.
Yeah. Because, as I've written in my notes, I'm sorry, Mod Mother, Swerve's the fucking man. He just is, all right?
Peter!
I'm sorry, but
Peter!
He is the man. Swerve is so good. Right now, at this moment in time, he is my favorite wrestler in the world.
Yeah.
He is so good. And there's one point in this match where Swerve just gets this flurry of offense and just does this really quick sequence of moves. And I just went... I was completely speechless. I was like, he's the guy. He's the man right now.
I think I know the sequence where he's doing the sort of capoeira transitions and just moving in like little mini cartwheels into kicks. The bit I liked the most in his offense was he gets like Jay White into the penta-style kill shot arm break spot, and he just points his fingers at Jay White like a gun. And Swerve almost looks at the crowd like, should I?
Should I? Yeah.
Because I'm gonna.
Yeah.
And then he stomps Jay White's arm.
So
badass.
Good. You sick F chance.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And what I like about that part of his offense is that's not a babyface act. That's a heelish act.
Yeah.
And Swerve is not losing any of that edge that he had, yet he is still... He's having his cake and eating it, isn't he? Because he's getting cheered now as a babyface, when really it's a badass tweener.
Yeah.
But he's still getting to do morally reprehensible things.
Because people
like MJF.
People like cheering villains. It's just a fun thing to do now.
And actually, the dynamic with Jay White's really good because Jay White is he's the villain's villain.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He doesn't care about getting cheers. He's going to go out of his way to not pop the audience in any degree. He
actively did it in this match because he was getting them to pop for Swerve because he kept mocking him going, whose house? And the crowd were like, Swerve's house! Like really popping for Swerve. White was just purposefully egging them on. He's so good.
There was a bit when, was it Jay White got thrown into the audience and a man just didn't let him go.
Don't do that, fans, is what I'll say.
It felt like Swerve was like, no, wait. Let him go, mate.
What I really liked in this one, though, on Jay White's name card when he came out, it said, cheated to beat Roosh. So they are really putting over that Jay White cheated to win in that match. And as a reminder, here's a little video package of Jay White cheating to beat Roosh before. And then they have in this match, referee, the same spot. Referee goes into the corner, back is turned, goes for a low blow, Swerve counters it because he knows it's coming. Catches a leg and drops him. So good. Stories upon story. This is why tournaments are the best. Because you have so many concurrent stories happening at the same time, and people have fleshed out characters. Tournaments are the best.
And you can tell that those little story beats within the physicality of the match from week to week.
Yeah.
In my head, Swerve obviously had that scouted because he obviously watched his opponent's match from last week.
Yep.
But also I like to think of, but also because Swerve's a heel. And Swerve's thinking, well, what would I do in this situation?
Absolutely, right?
I'd definitely low blow someone if the ref's back is turned. Off of that, though, Swerve had a little flurry, stomp, Jay White kicked out. Awesome near fall.
Yeah.
And then it felt like there were a few more minutes of, oh my God, come on, let's go. Off the back of that, we get the 5-minute call, so 15 minutes into the match, and Swerve just gets a technical roll-up on White to win.
Yeah, that was after White hit a Blade Runner on Swerve, and then he rolled out of the ring. It was great to protect the Blade Runner as well. It was awesome.
I thought White looked good in this match, even though he lost.
Absolutely.
And the nature of the win, the technical roll-up, means, White... And both men hit their finishers and neither got the pin on them. Yeah, there's enough, a smartly booked match to leave enough in the tank for a rematch. But also, Jay White afterwards looked upset.
absolutely deranged.
Yeah.
With how upset he was at losing this.
And Jay White, because he's not got the Bang Bang Gang around him, because the C2.
Yeah.
What's that name?
Yeah. You get
the C2 tournament. The rules are you can't have any people outside.
Mm-hmm.
Which
is a great rule, by the way.
Yeah.
Great rule.
He feels like a bit of a lonely but quite scary figure. It's like, oh my god, so what's he gonna do then?
Yeah, because when Jay White is backed into a corner, what does he do? Does he cower or does he fight out of it? And it looks like, well, he fights out of it.
Well, I don't even think he fights out. Well, he fights out, but not in like a noble way. He's got a little shank.
Yeah, he's got a
switchblade,
right? Yeah, exactly. I thought, looking at this matchup before the show started, I thought this might have been the first draw.
I could have seen that.
I thought this would have been the first draw where both of them are at the top of their game, they're getting near falls, and they just can't put each other away and the time runs out. I think I would have been okay with that. I'm very okay with this result as well. Swerve's the man. I don't know if I've said that before. And him having 6 points is amazing. But yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes from here. I wonder what will be the first draw in the tournament.
Yeah,
will there be a draw? There should be.
Mox and Swerve are now top of the league in the gold. So what are the matches next week? Do we know?
I can only remember the ones for Collision. I don't know if we got the ones for Dynamite, because it was Danielson Kingston for Collision. There's Claudio Brody King as well. And what's the other one for Collision?
Well, it must be Garcia.
It's Garcia and Kingston, right?
No,
it's Kingston Danielson. It's Garcia. The other one.
Yeah, me and Luke kept forgetting who the sixth man was in blue.
It's Claudio Brody, Danielson, Kingston, Garcia.
I can't remember.
Chat, help us out here. Come on. Anybody. I think the chat might be frozen.
Well, yeah, overall, I gave this 85%. I thought it was a terrific episode of wrestling television. Andrade! There we are.
Great matches across the board.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait for all of those.
Yeah, I love this episode.
Yes, I thought this was great. Like I said before, simply when you're saying it feels more focused, I think it's because everything has a point. And because you have a tournament going on, it feels like you have a point to every match. Every match has stakes. Even if you don't agree with the stakes at the end of the tournament, you can feel that people care about a tournament and they want to get points, and that's why they're trying to fight and win. And elsewhere, you have people fighting for belts. You have people doing return from injury. You have things that people care about across the whole show. And you have the story developing for the AEW World title. This was just a good, progressive wrestling show. It's great.
And next week, we've got Montreal with the TNT title match. And a week after that, we got Winter is Coming. Oof.
Great.
Good couple of weeks coming up.
Yeah, hope so.
We've done all our Patreon shout-outs, but please do go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk for loads of exclusive content. We had WrestleTalk Extra go up this week, I think yesterday, with me and Luke, while we're reviewing Survivor Series 2014. But not just that, because we also cover CM Punk's Art of Wrestling shoot interview on that same show, because it came out like a week after Survivor Series 2014.
Yeah.
And me and Luke talk a lot about, well, do you think it'd ever come back to WWE? Because that
you didn't.
Because that was
you
recorded.
Idiots.
It was recorded the Monday before Survivor Series.
Oh, man. That's crazy. I love that.
He owes me 10 quid. We said legit.
Yeah. He did say that you had until the number 30 spot in the Rumble to have Punk come back.
Yeah.
And after that was it.
So yeah, go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Join there, you can get that. And we've got loads of treats coming up for the festive period.
Yes.
But for now, last call for Omega Chats. Thuggernaut says, we don't want Jack, we don't want Wardlow, and it can't be Punk. So who do we want the devil to be? Personally, I want it to be Tony Khan. I don't know where it goes from there, but
that's the worst idea I've heard so far.
Me and Luke were joking about that a few weeks ago.
That is...
And I sold myself on it by the end of it.
I mean, that is the Vince higher power story.
Yeah.
At that point.
It's like a rule of wrestling. Every promotion owner will eventually become a heel authority figure in that promotion.
Yeah.
Bischoff didn't own it, but he was in charge. Vince, Dixie, Ben Khan.
Yeah.
Triple H.
Yeah.
Christoph says, hey boys, I loved last night's Dynamite, but I was talking with a friend during the Lethal match, and I just thought, Why isn't it Penta? That's
the guy.
Yeah. Why isn't it Penta instead? He brings a lucha style that's not in there.
True.
And it's Penta. I tell you, I hadn't even thought of Penta because I keep on thinking, you got names like Moxley and Danielson and Swerve. For me, it's like, who else is in that legit top title mix? And it's Hangman, it's Kenny.
Yeah.
And Jericho.
Nah.
I'm not saying I want him in there.
No,
but
I wouldn't want him in there either.
Ollie Rodriguez Dolman, building on the stakes of the C2, I truly believe they need their own version of the Royal Rumble. It's called the Casino Battle Royal, Ollie. It's not as good though.
No,
where the winner gets the main event slot at Wembley/All In, and the C2 would have been the perfect fit for that rather than a made-up title. Take care, lads. Heart hands emoji.
I agree. I don't think it should be the main event of All In though, because I think it's too far away.
But I guess if you did it, if you could do another sort of crowning tournament or match.
Yes, agreed.
Justin looked at Cage Match after seeing Britt's tweet. Only 11 out of the 30 women on AEW's active roster have wrestled on TV in the last month. Britt's last TV match was September 16th. Bonus fact, the last time an episode of Dynamite had 2 women's matches was April 8th, 2021.
That is a long time ago. It's 2.5 months. 2.5 months? 2.5 years.
The thing with Britt, and obviously, she's great. When she was wrestling on TV just a couple of months ago, she did not look good.
No.
Like, she looked really injured. So, sure, give her some TV time. Let her cut a promo and stuff.
That's what her tweet was.
Yeah.
She was upset that she hadn't had any promo time all year.
Ian Wall, Memberg for 2 months. Love the show. Julia Hart may be the most improved wrestler in 2023. Can you think of anyone more?
No.
No.
Not right now.
I mean, from like... Did she become House of Black this year? Or was it last year? That was just going on for so long.
It's hard to know because the teasers were probably last year, but I don't know when the actual turn was.
But if she's gone from that to champion, and so far a better champion than Chris Statlander was for me, so that makes her the second greatest TBS champion of all time. Wow. She went from pretty clunky to one of the best in-ring performers with presence. Yeah.
That's it.
Justin Reed, Memberg for 9 months. AEW messed up and didn't censor Copeland's F-bomb on TBS. Perfect timing when they're trying to get more money from Warner.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's AEW's responsibility.
Well, apparently, I saw some things on Twitter where they did censor it, but just too late. So
AEW did.
So it came out on one of the feeds. Like, it came out a bit too late. Like, they censored just after he said the word.
Yeah, so, I used to work in live sports broadcasting, and it was up to the person on the station end to watch it, and if anything went wrong, bleep it or put up a warning. We apologise for usually racist things that Australian commentators say in Australian football leagues.
Nice. Cool, yeah.
I was like, oh God, the Australians, why are they so just casually racist? Australia rules football.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The commentators were just banter in the worst way. So we apologise for that.
Yeah. God.
But yeah, it's from at least that way. You would watch a feed and you'd have sort of a 5-10 second pause thing, and you hit the button and you censor it. So maybe that's not AEW's fault. I don't know how it works with AEW.
Yeah.
Sid softball bat. I was at the show last night and made it on TV. The first crowd shot was me chanting AEW.
Nice.
A few seconds later, it cut to a cute little kid. Also, I got up close and personal with Moxley's back scars.
Nice.
Gross.
Wonderful.
D-Man Gamer. I was watching Luke's video yesterday discussing the issues of ex-WWE guys not wanting to job in AEW, and I thought of something. Do you guys think it's a generational difference, as the older talent seems to have no problem jobbing, unlike the young ones?
I would have said it's the other way around.
Yeah,
I think it's more just like a person-by-person basis, rather than a generational divide kind of thing. Because there are some ex-WWE guys who have no problem losing.
Danielson, Moxley, I bet
Claudio.
Copeland when the time's right, Claudio.
Yeah.
Christian is going to, lose to people in some big ways to get, this story is to get Kill Switch and Nick Wayne over. Long run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a person by person rather than generations.
And we've got a missed chat from Sunday's Survivor Series review. Sorry it took so long. Johnny All In says, wonder if Punk's first promo will be, I left professional wrestling in 2022 and returned to the company that made me sick in the first place in 2023. Seth's pissed. Drew walked. The only thing CM Punk is best in the world at is being a hypocrite. Do one.
Nice. Love that for you.
So Seth's is kayfabe.
Yeah, Seth is kayfabe now.
And yeah, no, he's returned home. Go and subscribe to partsFUNknown, by the way, because if you haven't already, you're watching an hour into a podcast. You're probably subscribed. But I'll have a every time CM Punk shot on WWE before he rejoined list going up on Sunday. Reading it all through, going, oh man,
it's a lot.
He frequently said, and quite recently, that he would never go back.
Yeah, he did say that. Which is why I found it very disingenuous and very out of spite that he went back.
Yeah. I feel the same.
But hey, also, if you missed the Raw podcast this week, I think me and Dan Layton had a very lovely discussion about CM Punk. It went on for like 40 minutes, and we just spoke about both sides of the Punk argument, and it was very respectful, and it was lovely. I really enjoyed it. So check out the Raw podcast.
Go watch the Raw podcast too.
Talk about discussions about Punk.
But for now, I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Pete Quinnell. Go also subscribe to Chaotic Neutral for the Fiasco stream tomorrow. Jam that jam.